Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. In today's video, we're going to check out my very first clear of Ayaha Otoha's Wrath on Expert difficulty. This is our Flame Agito battle, and it came out a couple weeks ago, but I managed to stay spoiler-free, haven't seen any videos or guides on this, so I decided the thing that would be most fun for me would be to kind of go into this blind in single player, try to get my first clear that way, and that is what I did. It took a couple hours of practice to get the fight down, learn some of the second half mechanics in particular, but I managed to get my first clear in single player gameplay, just like I did with Expert Ciela, and I have to say this was a really fun way to learn and experience this fight. I think the fact that it took so much longer just let me see and appreciate some of the mechanics that I probably wouldn't get to see in co-op, so had a lot of fun doing this, working on it, kind of getting back into some harder content for Dragalia, and this definitely wasn't a perfect run. It ended up being a situation where it was kind of like my one more time or one more attempt scenario. My battery was low. I knew after this I was probably going to have to stop for a while, and by this point I had been playing a couple hours, so my play had also gotten kind of sloppy, especially toward the beginning of the fight here, and I really was not expecting this to be the run, so apologies that it's not the smoothest by any means, but I knew there were certain segments I had played enough that I didn't have to worry too much about. I could kind of brute force my way through. It was really one particular move in the second phase that seemed to be causing a lot of trouble for me, so ultimately this was kind of by the numbers, and the second phase was a lot more half-assered with me not having seen lots of the fight. So anyway, as for this trial itself, I really enjoyed it. I have to say, I like the fact that there are so many hitboxes. It feels pretty special and pretty cool that there's two bosses on the arena at once, at least in the first phase. I think there's a lot of interesting play with afflictions. I think that there's cool mechanics where you can actually turn the tide, it seems like, and deal damage to the bosses themselves, if I'm not mistaken. There are certain segments of unavoidable damage, so you may want healing. I think that there's quite a variety of team comps that could probably work in this, and I'll talk a little bit about what I decided to use. My team was mainly motivated by the weapon types that I had a High Dragon Tier 2 weapon, Max Unbound. So that happened to be a Water Axe, Blade, Dagger, and Bow, and that's what I used for my Master Hybernhilda clears in solo, so I figured it would probably work for this. But as it turns out, with Skillshare, Gala Ellie ended up doing double duty as not just a buff bot, but also a pretty nice healer for my setup. So I really quickly realized in the second phase, with all the unavoidables, that I was going to need some type of healing, and with Gala Ellie here running an HP dragon already, I figured I could throw two healing skills on her. Now I don't have any shared skills that can cure burn or cure stun more relevantly in this case because all my units have burn res, so I just threw on Cleos and Halloween Lowens, and basically she is kind of my most important unit here. It's the reason I'm controlling her, even though I think it would be better to control Valerio since his AI seems the weakest, but I just really need to make sure I have her heals up. Now unfortunately, she doesn't have particularly fast charging skills, so compared to like a sword character or a dagger character who can throw out a lot of iframes to protect the entire team, she's not really as good in that department, but the fact that she could heal with an HP dragon attached is the main reason I decided to use her. There, I just totally messed up. I was trying to switch to Cerise to tank that butterfly with a dragon, since that seemed to be pretty effective in a couple runs I had done, but accidentally switched to Mitsuba, so I didn't get to tank it at all, and just didn't work out too well for me. Luckily, we're doing fine here. It's not really good gameplay, a lot of my characters got stunned, etc. But as long as everybody can survive, I feel pretty confident about how things are going. It's mainly these tight sequences of the screen-wide AoEs, especially if I don't have Gala Ellie's second skill up, that can pose a problem, and it's particularly Cerise that has really been my biggest liability in all the attempts I've made on this. Now this is the first move that really confused me when I was trying to solo this for the first time. I had no idea that you could kind of leave that purple circle toward the top of the screen. I found out by accident because for a long time I wasn't getting the purple circle, my AI were. But it worked out that time. I knew that there was going to be a purple AoE after that, so that's why I transformed Cerise, just to try to keep her alive. But this sequence here, I had not experienced in the past, and I don't know if it's because I got more DPS off Bog or what happened, but normally here, what I had been used to seeing was like, not these screen wides plus the little bomb butterflies, but the spinning attack. And when I didn't see the spinning attack there, it was a very rude awakening because I realized I needed a lot of healing in quick succession to get rid of that segment or survive that segment. But it worked out. We got to this butterfly phase. I noticed that the black butterfly wasn't good for me. It seemed to stun me, so I guess that one causes stun and the other one causes burn, but all my characters had burn res, so I never noticed that one. But it looks like it stunned the boss as well, so this is one of those mechanics that seem pretty cool, like you could actually damage the boss with it. And at this point, all I'm really worried about is getting up heals, trying to cast buffs, but more importantly, trying to charge my heals. This was a little bit bad here to try exit. You can stay in the middle for sure and roll through or iframe through the reds, but I decided in past runs it was safer to try exit. Unfortunately, my Cerise is just getting bodied over there. And unfortunately for me, I'm trying to heal her, I'm trying to cast my iframes, but she is the one who's not going to make it. So it seems like probably melee is a little bit easier to solo with than ranged, mainly just because of the survivability aspect of them. But it's totally my fault. I should have iframed there. Although as it turns out, in this particular run, like, a lot of my characters are just getting hit a lot more. I guess their skills aren't lined up as well against the avoidable damage. So in past runs, I'm sure that I hadn't iframed as proactively, and I was still doing just fine. Luckily, on this second targeting reticle, we didn't get bombs really close to us. It happened in the past where I got 3 of those butterfly bombs as I was at the top of the screen, and that made it very hard for my AI to survive. I eventually was able to get another clear after this, where I used Summer Celiera in the place of Hunter Cerise, and that one was a deathless clear, and I figured out sort of how to pivot away and drop those red butterfly bombs, or purple AoE bombs, so that they wouldn't hit my AI. But that was one of the segments I had to keep repeating this for, was trying to figure out how to survive that with minimal damage to my AI teammates. Now, we still don't have a heal up. We're not really out of the woods here, but we have this butterfly phase, which is a really good opportunity for me to charge up some skills. So I appreciate that this is happening. It gives me a chance to heal both of my adventurers. And at this point, my biggest priority is to keep Valerio and Mitsuva alive, because I know they can clear on their own, but I'm not confident that Gala Ellie can clear on her own, because she doesn't have good personal DPS. Ended up dragoning there, mostly because I was afraid that that butterfly was not going to get destroyed in time, but this was a case where it would have really helped me if I could have saved that heal for later, for sure. Since you can see the dashes are kind of making some work of me. And finally we get a freeze there. This is one reason why it seems like it'd be way better to play Valerio, because I'm rarely seeing stuns and freezes off of Valerio here. It feels like he's almost always using Frostbite, or he's just missing. But the HP is lower than I've ever seen at this point, so I'm very hopeful. It's just, I'm still kind of worried that there could be some screen-wide AoEs back to back and I could die. I decided to tank that with Gala Ellie for the reason I mentioned, that I feel like if she dies, I can still win, but if some of my other characters die, I may not be able to. But at this point, I was starting to get very hopeful and just get a little bit reckless, just trying to clear as best I could. I saw this beam, I knew how to handle this, just to disengage and run around in a more conservative fashion. You can actually stay engaged and do just fine, especially in the first round of this, and I'm sure there are clears that are fast where you don't even see that. But the conservative route worked for me in this case, since there's just a little HP left, and we got off a final Elder Cure as a send-off, and yeah, that was my first clear of the twins Agito. Really fun fight, I enjoyed it a lot. No idea how the mechanics would change in co-op. Now that I got my single-player Deathless clear a little bit later than this one, I'm probably not going to play this trial anymore until the Master Difficulty one comes out. Or I may just play it so that I can gear up my water tree in preparation for that. But definitely not planning on crafting any weapons from this. I have all the tier 2 High Dragon water weapons. I don't really want a marginal upgrade via the 6 tier 1 weapons. Nevertheless, this seemed like a very fun battle. I'm excited to find out what it's like in co-op, so I'd be very curious in the comments below if you can share with me what that's like. I've read the thread, like the thread headers, I guess. I've seen that, you know, this can be cleared in 16, 17 seconds, 30 seconds, etc. But I haven't actually gone in and watched any of those videos or seen what those comps are like. So one thing I'd be very curious if y'all can share is, how does this change in co-op? Are there 4 of those targeting reticles? Are there 8 of the laser beams? Just let me know what it's like. I'm sure it must be very different. I'd be very curious to hear about your experience with experts Ayaha and Otoha in the comments below. But that is going to do it for this video, everyone. So thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.